Now, who doesn't like an anniversary party? On this week's episode of Fishing 411, Mark and Jake join forces with a host of employees from Smoker Craft Incorporated to celebrate a landmark 100th anniversary. From humble beginnings making paddles and boat oars for the war efforts, to becoming one of the largest independent manufacturers of aluminum fishing boats in the nation, Smoker Craft Incorporated is an American success story. In a world that's increasingly full of foreign imports and job outsourcing, this family-owned brand not only produces outstanding fishing boats, Smoker Craft is a great place to work for those living the American dream.
On this week's episode, we're going to do a walkthrough of Smoker Craft Incorporated. A lot of people don't realize this is a boat manufacturer that's been in business 100 years. I'm actually standing in front of the original building. Stick around because we're going to check out Smoker Craft Incorporated inside out.
Smoker Craft Incorporated is the umbrella for all these wonderful, proven brands. So we have Smoker Craft fishing boats, Starcraft fishing boats, Starweld fishing boats, just on the fishing boat side, and that doesn't include the fiberglass and the pontoons. But over time, and especially in the marketing side and through our dealer network, we have tried to differentiate the brands the best we can. And we do our best to give a big water option, an interior small lake option on every product line. One of the most unique things about Smoker Craft is that it is the last, especially on the fishing boat side, the last major family-owned and operated fishing boat manufacturer in the industry. It was started by John Smoker in 1921 as a lumber company, and then my grandfather, Byron Smoker, actually transitioned it to fishing boats, and then in 1978 sold controlling interest to Harold Schrock, which is also our current owner's grandfather, Peter Barrett's grandfather, and then they worked as partners to start and all the way up until currently today, where Byron Smoker's son, Doug Smoker, is our current president and CEO, and Harold Schrock's grandson, Peter Barrett, is Senior Executive Vice President and part owner. So as you can see, not only are we family owned and operated, but it's the same families that have been at the start. And when you have that level of ownership and the family aspect of it, that really transitions all the way down to the end consumer. Retail customers understand what it means to be family owned and operated. They understand that level of security that comes with it. And then on the dealer side, it means so much to dealers because they can pick up the phone and call us and know us by name, and it's so funny because we just talked about, like, I got like 5 Christmas cards from dealers, and I sent Christmas cards to dealers, and like there's a level of, like, a relationship level that we offer at Smoker Craft that I'm not sure anybody else in the industry can really talk about.
Well, one of the other things that attracted us to Smoker Craft is the family element. Of course, Fishing 401 is a family company, and so when we had an opportunity to work with a manufacturer that is family based, that is as good as it gets. And think about it, the company's been in business for 100 years. Who else can you think of in the marine industry who survived 100 years? It's something special, and Smoker Craft Incorporated is that special brand.
Special considerations are provided by Cisco Fishing Systems and Striker brands. Go early, go late, go prepared. Additional considerations provided by Fishhawk Electronics. Trolling without a fishhawk is called boating.
Well, with Fishing 401 Television, we've really only represented one boat company. It's been Smoker Craft Incorporated, aka StarCraft, since the beginning. The beginning for us was 2007 is when we first came into television, and we sat down with the folks at Smoker Craft and hammered out a deal to use their boats exclusively on Fishing 401 Television. Started from then, and it is going on into the future. We can see no end in sight. We love the platform, we love the boats. There's a lot of different models for us to choose. Over the years, we've used a bunch of different boats, but they're all excellent fishing platforms.
So at this point right here, this is where they're putting in all of the carpeted pieces and the vinyl pieces for all the fishing boats, right? So here you can see how they're putting the carpeted piece on a flat surface, and so then that piece will then be taken over to the press room to where it will be formed to the exact specifications of what the parts is needed to build the boat. So one of the unique things about us is that any carpeted piece that goes in the finished product is put on, the carpet is put on before the piece actually gets pressed. So that way, once you get a finalized piece, you can really see that the carpet is really snug into each crevice, and it's fastened really tightly. And so it creates a very clean finish on the end part. So a lot of people will carpet the piece after it's already been shaped. We do it when it's flat and then press it to create that tight seam. Now we're here in the rib room, and this is one of the custom machines that was built here at Smoker Craft, and it's quite a few years old right now, but it still serves one of the biggest purposes that we have. So every boat is going to get some sort of a rib system for the structure of the hull, and it comes into a flat sheet of coiled aluminum. And then once it gets through the process, it will actually decoil, come into this section right here, will actually get molded and punched for the rivets in one seamless process. And so when it gets down to the end, you'll actually get a rib that is punched and molded to go right into your final production of the aluminum product. What we're doing right here is we are welding on the stringer system in the bottom structure of the boat. Right now they're doing it before they put the side panels on, and so that way it's easier to put the side panels on this side of the boat. Depending on which boat model we use, they do different processes, and that this one in particular, they'll put the floor down before and the structure before putting the side panels on, and the transom just allows for an easier manufacturing process that way. During this process is now you can really start seeing the structure of the boat, as you can see here. The stringer system is in. The stringer system and the ribs actually overlap for more structure right at the most strenuous part of the hull. As you can see here, right here at the midship, You know, here you're gonna have your breastplates are gonna be on, your gunnels are gonna be on. They've already put your 7-layer marine treated plywood onto the back of the boat that's through bolted through with your knee braces there at the back, as you can see. So here you can really start seeing the actual structure of the boat come together, and you know, just the amount of American muscle that goes into building one of these things. So one of the questions is that, like, today, you know, like, we get so often, it's like, okay, what's better? What's riveted, welded, what's not? At Smoker Craft Incorporated, we sell both. You know, we have a welded line, we have a riveted line. And one of the things that we always talk about when we're selling a riveted boat is that obviously here you're going to see how you have a double riveted seam, all right? And then when people always ask me that question, I always talk about, well, when you're in an airplane and you're looking out the wing, what do you see? You see rivets. When you're at a skyscraper, what do you see? What do they put together? They put it together with rivets. Because, and the reason that is, in the same way as the boat, when you're going down the water, there's always a torque and a pull to each of those rivets, and this rivet will flex with that. Now, if you're selling a welded boat, I always sell about the clean sides of the, you don't have the rivets, you have your clean sides, which makes a really nice sharp look. Either way, with our stuff, it's a lifetime warranty on every riveted seam and every weld. So we have no problem selling that when it comes down to it.
Special considerations are provided by Precision Trolling Data and the Lake St. Clair Walleye Association. Special considerations provided by the Ultimate Sport Show Tour, Michigan's elite sport shows. Eagle Claw presents the 411 on fishing.
So today we're going to install the brand new 60-inch Ghost electric motor on my StarCraft STX 2050. So I got it laying right down here on the floor, and we're going to pull it out of the box for the first time, and we're going to show exactly how to get this motor installed on the STX 2050. I have to figure out my distance from the shaft of the boat, or from the shaft going to the boat. If it's too close to the boat and there's a little bit of flex in the shaft, it'll come back and hit the boat, and we don't want that. So we want to make sure it's mounted plenty far out from the bow of the boat itself. The other really important thing is the power head needs to be inside the gunnel of the boat when we fold it up. And one of the things that you want to keep in mind is you want to make sure that this power head is right inside the railing like this, because if it's not and it's just out like that, now you're going to hit it. Sure enough, you're going to hit it when you go to bring the boat into dock. So very important to have this motor inside the gunnel, and then you got to remember there's going to be a drop down bar right here that goes to your floor. Once you have it in line where the power head is inside the gunnel, your bar is clearly going to sit on the floor with no problems. Then I'm just going to mark everything. So I'm going to take a Sharpie, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to actually bolt it in 6 places. So just drop the Sharpie down in the hole, mark right on the carpet itself. So now what I've done is just created 6 dots on the carpet, so I know exactly where I need to go back to drill this bracket into place. Okay, so basically the next step is that we drilled the holes, now we have to through bolt the scissor bracket on. But before you do that, you want to make sure you add this strap. So all you're going to do with this, very simple, you're going to run it up underneath the scissor bracket, let that sit loose, and then line up all 6 bolts into the holes. Once you have all 6 bolts in place, basically you're just going to through bolt them at that point. From there, we're on to the next step. Once everything is attached on the scissor bracket itself, bolt this shaft back on, and we're really close to being done. Okay, now that you have the scissor bracket mounted on and the head mounted back on again, the next step is to mount this power piston that I have right here. And so we take this little nut and bolt, and it slides in there. You have to get this all mounted when it's not under tension. So he's actually going to start to let it down a little bit. There we go. Once we get that pin in there like that, the piston is on. You tighten up these screws up here, you tighten up these screws down here, and now you have the power assist of the scissor bracket. This is like a 0.1 antenna. Basically it's an extra GPS module for the Ghost electric motor. And I like to mount that on a flat surface up on the bow of the boat, and you'll see that there's an arrow. That arrow is very important. You want that arrow pointing forward. And so what I'll do is I'll drill a little hole in the boat, and I'll mount that antenna right here on the bow of the boat. Okay, this is a boat sitting right next to the other boat that I've already finished up, and I'm going to show you how I have the foot control hooked up. Now we already have power, and you can see I have a clip power here, run right in. The nice thing about that is easy to unplug and then plug back in. It just clips in like that. To power up the electric motor, there's a little power button, and you turn that on and you have power to the electric motor. Now right now it's 24 volts and it's 36 volts. It's going to come factory 24 volt. The way that you make it into a 36 volt system is you have your 2 quick key buttons up here on the top of the pedal. What you're going to do is you're going to hold those down, and as you hold those down, you'll hear a beep and it's going to start flashing. Now you go over to your test and you'll see it's blinking 24 and it's blinking 36. When it's switched over to 36, at that point when I hold these 2 buttons down, it's going to stay 36 volts and it's going to be now taking 36 volts. The beauty of that with the Ghost motor is if you're on the water and you have a 36 volt system and you have a battery go down, you can quickly switch it back to 24 volts and still be able to fish the rest of the day. So that's a really nice feature. And that's pretty much it from start to finish, how to install a Ghost electric motor.
So right now we are in the final finish area. This is where they'll run all the final electrical checks. They'll run the canvas in here. They'll also put in run the final wiring for all the consoles and whatnot. So that's all done right here. They'll also go through with black lights and check all the paint. And then finally we'll just go through and just make sure all the parts and pieces that were not installed here that gets put in the boat that will get shrink wrapped here at the end of the line to making sure all the parts and pieces are in the boat before it gets shipped out to the dealer network. So this is really kind of the fun area here because then you get to really see all the work that was been done from start to finish and how it really comes about.
Special considerations are provided by Trailmaster Trailers and Daiwa Corporation. Special considerations are provided by Procure, ruthlessly effective bait sense.
While we've owned a lot of different boats from Smoker Craft Incorporated, if we could pick a favorite, it would have to be the STX 2050. And the beauty of this boat is it's a multi-species, and it's a true multi-species. It's a boat that we'll bluegill fish with on Monday, and on Tuesday we'll be on the Great Lakes chasing king salmon. So it's a boat that does everything very well. That's a very difficult thing to find in this day and age, is one boat platform that does everything well. The STX 2050 gets it done.
Like over time, we've just done a remarkable job of innovation with our hulls. Currently, we just came out with our VPS, which is the Vertex Performance Strike on our Adventure Series. Just been a remarkable planing hull that performs remarkably. That has kind of taken over from what we were in the past, where we did the Hydro Lift hull, which is, the reverse chine, which was originated in, here at Smoker Craft, 20 years ago. And that hull is still being produced because it's such a proven hull. But, you've got so many different avenues and different products that we offer that allows the customer on every level, a 16-footer and a 17-footer, all the way up into the 22s. We've just got so much product that is so unique to the industry that is proven that really gives us a significant competitive advantage when it comes to market.
Well, I started working at Smoker Craft back when I was probably like 15 or 16 originally, and I was what they call a yard dog. I mowed lawns, all that stuff, part-time after work. After that, I started in the wood shop and ended up coming back working in the repair shop. And then after being in there about 7 or 8 years, I got moved into the engineering department because of my love for boats and knowing how to work on them and what was wrong with them, and etc. There's some people that have 3 or 4 generations here. I mean, that's mom and dad's work here. I know multiple people where husband and wife both work here, and their kids. I mean, that's one thing. And there's a high number of people that have been here in the 20+ year category. I mean, when we have our Christmas parties, that's a large group.
There are a number of employees. I'm in my 47th year, and there are still a number of employees that have been here longer than myself, including the president of the company, Doug Smoker, Frank Perales, who still works on the aluminum boat line. I don't know how he does it, but he puts transoms in, and he's been here 50 years plus. I don't know that he's looking to retire anytime soon. People that work here love the family atmosphere. They love how the company takes care of them. So it's a great place to work, and it has just grown exponentially, and I don't see any end in sight.
Hey, I'm Mark Romanack, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode, the special talking about Smoker Craft Incorporated. We've been blessed to be working with this company since 2007. It's been our pleasure to fish their boats. I think you'll find that they're great fishing platforms as well.
Closed captioning is provided by Lakeside Motorsports, Michigan's premier marine and power sports company. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Lowrance Electronics, Starcraft Marine, Yamaha Outboards, Yakima Bait Company, Niagara Falls, USA, Smooth Moves, and Jay's Sporting Goods.